Hello there guys and welcome back to Blues Fans TV for another Premier League match preview of mine as Chelsea are to take on Crystal Palace away from home at 6 PM UK time tomorrow evening on Tuesday evening. And it's going to be another big game. The win over Watford was good, a good performance and a big win in terms of the race for top four. Especially with everyone around us, bar Wolves, getting 3 points as well. But this is going to be similar. This time we are the first ones to play basically on the match day. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be big. To the race for top four will go to the very, 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 very end. And, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. Of course, if you are new to Blues Fans TV, make sure you subscribe. I know we just hit 100,000 subscribers, but the road to 200,000 subscribers is well and truly on the way. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We would massively, massively, massively appreciate it. And also, if you do enjoy our content and are excited for the game tomorrow, make sure you drop a like. But enough about that, enough waffling basically. And let's get, into talking about the game tomorrow night. I mean, like I said, I touched on the Watford game. We now have to replicate that performance or even improve on it to get another 3 points. Because, like I said, we are the first ones to play, out of our top four rivals, especially with Arsenal being on good form and them facing Leicester. If we win tomorrow night, there is again a decent chance of us actually finally going into third in the table. With all of that said, let's talk about the team I would personally field and then the team that I'm predicting Frank Lampard to go with. And for my team, of course, on this side of the screen, I would actually go for the very same back five, I guess you can call it, as the boss put out on Saturday, against Watford. Cap and goal has to stay in there, had a good performance against Watford, a big save late on, and a clean sheet. So that was good. The two centre-backs for me have to remain Andreas Christensen and Kurt Zouma because they both did well and I just wouldn't change it. I don't see a reason why Antonio Rudiger should come back into it. And also, Fikayo Tomori is actually still out injured, according to Frank Lampard in his press conference. Had a bit of a setback in training as well, so will only return to full training probably, and he said hopefully next week. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. So for me, still Christensen and Kurt Zouma. Reece James remains a right back for me, but mainly, sorry to a lot of fans that love him, and I personally love him as well, but mainly to a lot of fans for having Aspie on their left rather than having Alonso there, more so than really wanting to play Reece James because he wasn't particularly great against Watford. I thought he was decent, don't get me wrong, he was decent, and he had a couple of good crosses in there, but there were many more bad crosses by him as well, I have to say. So decent, but nothing to shout about if you ask me. But Aspie on the left, he's just a monster. Aspie is an absolute machine, and that would be, I guess, my back five. But now coming to the midfield and also quickly touching on Lampard's press conference because we do have some injuries. As KANTE did pick up a low-level hamstring injury in the game against Watford and will not be involved tomorrow, as well as most likely also missing the game on the weekend against Sheffield United. We will have to wait and see whether he might be back for the game against Norwich the midweek after that. We'll have to wait and see. But also Mateo Kovacic, who of course already missed the Watford game, is still out injured. He has actually returned back to full training according to Lampard. He did return to full training today, but this game comes a bit too early for him. But from the sounds of it, he should be back for the weekend against Sheffield United. Of course, touched on Tomori already. Otherwise, we are all good. No other injuries, which of course is good, including Olivier Giroud, who actually, in my opinion, looks like he might have picked up a small knock on the weekend, but he seems to be absolutely fine. Just one last thing on Lampard's press conference, as I'm about to go into the midfield as well. He also spoke about Ruben Loftus-Cheek and said he is pretty fit. This could definitely, the break helped him out a lot in getting, proper fitness in. But he's not quite there yet, and next season will be huge for him. And Lampard himself said he's very excited to see Ruben Loftus-Cheek next season. But he did still say he will contribute for the remainder of the season as well. But from how Lampard phrased it, and also quite clearly actually saying it, more so from the bench and only starting the odd game, if at all, to be honest, if at all. He did touch on Jorginho as well, but I will, mention that in a little bit as well. Now, with all of that said, who starts in midfield? Because, of course, Kante is out injured and Kovacic is out injured. So for me, Jorginho has to be at the base of the midfield, even though it makes having two rather attacking number 8s in front of him a bit riskier. And while you could try a 4-2-3-1 with Jorginho and Billy Gilmour next to each other, I like the formation how it has been used in the last few weeks, so I would personally stick to it. I like having the deep number 6 and the two attacking number 8. I think it's been good. Like I said, might be a bit riskier because Jorginho, of course, doesn't have the legs that Kante does to kind of cover when spaces are left in behind the number 8. But for me, I think we have to try it, especially against a team such as Palace, who really don't score a lot of goals. And for me, personally, Jorginho over Billy Gilmour, because I just don't see Billy as having been particularly good since the break. I know he's not really played that much, only came on for one game and started at Leicester, but at Leicester I thought it was poor. Yes, I know he didn't play as a 6, but the passing was poor regardless of what position he plays in, quite frankly. So, I wasn't happy with that, and I didn't think it was great when he came on against Watford either. And I just trust Jorginho more. What Lampard said about Ruben Loftus-Cheek made me look at the remaining games, actually, though. And to me, if he gets to start any of them, it's tomorrow against Palace or Norwich next week. Or both, obviously, but other than that, I don't really see it. I would personally actually start him tomorrow. And I would actually start him instead of Ross Barkley, just because Ross has played a lot of games since the break and has been very good in terms of end product as well. I'd give him a little bit of a rest. I think Ruben can certainly replicate that, be a goal threat, provide assists as well. I think that would be quite good. Give Barkley a little rest, especially with Kante and Kovacic out injured. We need Barkley for the remainder of the season, and don't overplay him like we did with Kante and force people into injuries that are very, very unnecessary. So, for me, like I said, Ruben Loftus-Cheek starts as one of the 2 number attacking 8 alongside Mason Mount. I thought Mason Mount had a very good performance against Watford, so I was happy with that. So that is my midfield 3, and then coming to the front 3, I would stick with the same again. Pulisic on the left, Willian on the right, and Olivier Giroud starting up front. To me, you just have to go with that, quite frankly. I mean, I hope I'm not overplaying anyone. I criticised Lampard slightly for overplaying N'Golo Kante, but especially Willian, even though he's played every game so far now and started every game so far as well, at least he doesn't have this history of this season getting injured every 3 games when he's being overplayed. Pulisic, you might say maybe he needs a bit of a rest. His form is just so good, you just need to start him. You just absolutely need to start him. And then at some point, just bring Callum Hudson-Odoi on and just hope he can get a bit more sharpness. Didn't really do much against Watford, but just hope he can bring a bit more sharpness to the game and, should be quite good. As for Lampard's team, I would strongly assume he'll pick the same back 5 as myself and as he did against Watford. So with Kepa, Christensen, Kurt Zouma, Azpilicueta at left back and Reece James at right back. But in midfield, I do see a big difference actually to my personal 11. Also from what he said in his press conference, like I said, I will touch on the Jorginho comments. It really didn't sound like Jorginho would get much more game time, even though he said he's handled it professionally and very well and has still been training very well. When asked why has Jorginho not been playing and will he play tomorrow, he said, we'll see what I pick. And then he said, I don't want to get into why I'm not picking people and the tactical reasons for things. So that didn't sound like Jorginho would get much more game time this season, if I'm going to be totally honest. So unless he goes for that previously mentioned 4-2-3-1 with Jorginho and Gilmour, I'm pretty sure Billy Gilmour will be the number 6 behind the 2 attacking number 8. Which, although those 2 attacking 8s might be slightly less attacking than they are usually when N'Golo Kante plays behind them. We'll have to wait and see. But still, I do expect him to go for 4-4-3-3 formation. But personally, I think Lampard won't start Ruben. I think he will actually stick with Ross Barkley and Mason Mount as those 2 number attacking 8s and have Ruben come on from the bench and possibly start him at against Norwich next week. And I'm also pretty damn certain that the boss will stick to the same front 3 as well. Same front 3 that I would go for, the same front 3 that he started against Watford, with Pulisic on the left, Willian on the right, and of course Olivier Giroud up front. But yeah, that is the team that I'm predicting Frank Lampard to pick. But as for the game itself, and I'll touch on Palace straight after that, of course, it will most likely not be an easy game. It will most likely be very tough to break them down, which means the things I pretty much always say. Maximum movement, especially in the final third, will be crucial. Fast and crisp passing will be crucial, as well as obviously being clinical and taking our chances against a team that is usually very solid and have a not really conceded that many goals. And remaining concentrated at the back for Chelsea will also be very important. So ideally, we don't concede. Another clean sheet would do absolutely lovely, in my opinion. And I was going to say who's going to be important for the game, who has to perform well for us to get the win. But literally all of them are important. The entire attack, going from the front 3 to the attacking number 8, but obviously also the fullbacks and the number 6 in terms of attacking, moving the ball, getting the ball across from defence to attack will be crucial. And in terms of defending, the entire team will be important, starting with the press from Olivier Giroud, the wingers, and Mason Mount, as well as being solid and not making mistakes at the back to, again, ideally keep a clean sheet. But enough about Chelsea, and let's come to Palace and talk about them a little bit. They're currently sitting 14th in the table on 42 points from the 33 games played so far, which has them 14 points above the relegation zone, with 15 points left to play for, of course, with 5 games remaining. So they're not technically guaranteed safety just yet, but of course, we all know they're absolutely safe. So Palace at least are not really fighting relegation anymore, which should in theory mean a little bit of an easier game because you're not playing a team that is fighting for their lives to stay in the Premier League. So even though Watford weren't safe at all and were fighting relegation, let's hope for more of a Watford kind of like game than a West Ham one. And ideally, a comfortable win. That'd be bloody brilliant, wouldn't it now? Like I touched on earlier already, Palace just don't score goals. Literally only 28 so far this season, and Jordan Ayew with 9 is their only player to actually have scored more than 3 goals, and that includes Wilfried Zaha. But they're good defensively. I mean, they've conceded 4 less goals than Chelsea have, and also usually line up in what could be described as many different things. A 4-3-3, a 4-1-4-1, or off the ball just playing the 4-5-1. That's what they line up in. A 4-5-1, because we're going to have the majority of the possession, and then they're going to be sat there with a block of 4 and a block of 5, trying to stop us from scoring. That's what they're going to do. But the form since the break hasn't actually been good at all. Okay, they started with a 2-0 win over Bournemouth, but Bournemouth are shocking, and from the looks of things, going down. But since then, Palace received defeats to Liverpool, Burnley and Leicester without Palace actually scoring a single goal in all of those defeats. And okay, yeah, difficult opponents, fair enough. Liverpool, of course, winning the league. Leicester currently in the top 4, Burnley even 9th. So difficult opponents, but especially the 3-0 defeat against Leicester was slightly surprising, conceding so many goals. Like I said, Palace usually very good at the back and very organised. And also with how poor the Foxes have been since the break, that was a surprising result, if you ask me. And I actually thought Palace might get like a draw out of Leicester, but clearly I was very wrong. But they still do have a few very good players in there that we need to look out for. For in the game tomorrow. Jordan Ayew, of course, him already mentioned, is the top goal scorer so far this season. But of course, even though Zaha hasn't scored much this season, you always have to look out for him. He's a very good player, possibly Andros Townsend as well. And we should never underestimate Patrick Van Aanholt attacking from their left-back position either. Pretty sure he scored when we last played them. Might not have been last time we played them, but in some game, he's always a danger, always a danger. Good left-back. I like him. One more thing that is good though, just like Watford, they're not very good at set pieces, which should hopefully mean we don't get punished like we have so many times this season from not being capable of defending set pieces. So I would hope that stays the case. That would be probably brilliant, if you ask me. They've only scored from 4 set pieces so far this season, even though the stat where I looked at it said 4 goals from set pieces and 2 from free kicks. But isn't a free kick a set piece? Or when they say 2 from free kicks, do they mean direct free kicks, which I guess is a little bit different. I assume they meant that, so only 4 goals from, I guess, crosses, like corners and free kicks into the box. So that's not that much. One more than Watford had. We were fine against them. So let's hope for something like that again, where we're absolutely fine defending set pieces. So with all of that being said, let's get to my score prediction, which for this game is actually going to be different for once, would you believe it? As I'm going to predict a 2-0 away win for the Blues, and we're going to get another 3 points, another clean sheet, another 2 goals, and I'm going to be bloody happy. I would be happy if Pulisic scores, because he didn't score the last 2, and his performances have certainly warranted goals. So actually, I hope Pulisic scores 2. Why not? Or Pulisic scores 1 and Ruben scores 1. Why not? I'd be very, very happy with that. But to be honest, guys, that has really been it from me. I really do hope that you have enjoyed this video. And if you have, and if you're new here, please make sure you subscribe to Blues Fans TV. Like I said in the beginning already, of course, help us on our long way to 200,000 subscribers. But the road is long, but the road, has been paved. So we're walking on it, or driving on it, whatever else. So the more of you that subscribe, the quicker we're driving. So please do subscribe if you are new, and tell your mates about it if they haven't subscribed. Tell them to subscribe. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Leave me all of your thoughts ahead of the game down in the comment section below, whether it's your predicted lineups, your score predictions, and also anything you said, anything I said. If you want to comment on that, leave it down in the comment section below. Like I said, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea. Very excited for the game tomorrow, and I'll see you when I see you.